Hello, welcome to Pub Football. Miles and Jimmy here. Sorry we didn't review last week's games, but work hours got in the way. We've both been working opposite ends of the day, which doesn't really help for filming. Anyway, we're here. We're going to predict today's games. We will quickly mention last night's result. Wolves getting a good 2-0 win at Molineux over Crystal Palace. Goals from teenager Ait Nouri and Costello Podence as well. That's a good win. So I thought Palace were going to win this. I just had a feeling.
Yeah, agreed. Wolves are starting to put a little run together now. I think they're joint third or fourth at the moment.
They're top.
Oh, they're top. Wow. So, yeah, they've really picked up their performances, which is great. I thought the young lad at left back scored a cracking goal. And, yeah, it was a really good performance all around from Wolves. And as you said, I thought Palace, with the counter-attacking threat, might have done something, but didn't really materialise, did it?
Did you watch it on pay-per-view?
No, of course I didn't.
Refusing, absolutely refusing. Pay for a Sky subscription. I'm not paying pay-per-view. Greedy Premier League. Anyway, on to the weekend's games. It's the 7th game week of the Premier League already, which means that the Premier League is starting to take shape now. You know, we're only just over 3 games away, less than 3 games away from the quarter of the way through the season, which, when you think about it, means that teams need to start shaking a leg if they want to move up the table. Anyway, starting today's games, 12:30, Bramall Lane, Sheffield United versus Manchester City. Quite simply, talking shaking a leg, Sheffield United need to. This isn't a game I think they're going to do very well in.
No, agreed. I think obviously City didn't quite get the result against West Ham last week, but had enough chances to win convincingly. I expect that to be a completely different story this weekend. I think they're going to win comfortably 2 or 3-0. And Sheffield United haven't got going yet, have they? And don't really look like scoring.
They're blunt. They're completely blunt up front. I'm waiting for Ryan Brewster to come alive. I'm hoping that it's not another Dominic Solanke scenario where Liverpool have got him as a youngster and realise he's not good enough and managed to shift him for loads of money. But we'll see about that. Anyway, Man City, again, need to shake a leg because they are falling well behind the leaders already. I think this will be the game that they start to reignite their season. 3-0 City.
2-0.
Burnley, Chelsea at Turf Moor. This is a tricky game for Chelsea. They've not been brilliant. I can imagine that this is a game that Burnley will see an opportunity in because Chelsea's defence has been terrible. Their best defender, their most calm defender is Thiago Silva, who's never played in the Premier League in the type of game you'll get against Burnley. So I think they could potentially rattle him, and this is going to be close.
Yeah, agreed. I've got to say, Chelsea played quite well in the week, but Krasnodar are absolutely awful, so there's not really too much to go on there. But as you say, the long ball's going up to Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes. How's Thiago Silva going to cope with that? We shall see. But I think they're going to grind it out. I think they're going to win 2-1. They're just going to have a bit too much going forward.
I'm going to predict an upset here. I think Burnley might get their first win of the season, 1-0.
Nice.
Liverpool West Ham 5:30 at Anfield, a game riddled with injury problems. Liverpool, no Van Dijk, of course. Now no Fabinho's picked up a hamstring injury. West Ham, no Mikel Antonio, who's been brilliant this season so far, picking up an injury against Manchester City last weekend. That, for me, it's the Antonio injury that swings it completely for me. I think Liverpool probably would have won anyway, but West Ham have been playing really well. Antonio's been a big part of that, and I don't think Sebastian Haller has the qualities that they need, or the same qualities that they've been relying on from Antonio. And I'm not sure I can see West Ham scoring without him.
Yeah, I agree. Antonio brings something different to the party, doesn't he? And especially against Joe Gomez and probably a Fabinho. Well, I think is he out now?
Fabinho's out. So be Gomez.
Oh, is it? Wow.
I'm guessing.
So, yeah, Antonio up against a really poor back line would have had such a good game, I think. So I can't see Haller doing anything, to be honest. And as you say, Liverpool haven't been great, but I think they'll grind it out as well. I think it's going to be 2-0.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. 2-0. I think that because going forward, they've still got their best player. Oh, I think Mo Salah might be out as well, potentially. So that doesn't help. But I still think they'll get it 2-0. They've got plenty of firepower up there. On to Sunday's games, tomorrow's games. Aston Villa, Southampton, first game on Sunday. This is going to be a very, very good game of football. Two teams who are playing quite well. I'm actually going to straight away predict an away win. Southampton are looking very good. Last week against Everton, they were superb. Aston Villa maybe just getting a bit of a reality check against Leeds. And I think it's going to be 2-1 to Southampton.
Agreed. I really like the look of Southampton at the moment. As you say, press high, taking chances. Che Adams and Danny Ings look great at the moment. And at the moment, I think they just have a bit too much for Villa. As you say, bit of an off day against Leeds last week, but they'll do all right this year. But I think they're going to lose 2-1.
Newcastle Everton at St James's Park. Everton looking to bounce back after a really poor performance last week against Southampton as well. Newcastle have been doing what Newcastle will do this season and just sort of middling it really. I think Everton should have enough, but just the type of game that Newcastle could get something out of.
Yeah, agreed. I thought Everton was so poor last week. I expect a big reaction, to be honest. I expect them to be a little bit more threatening going forward. I reckon Calvert-Lewin might get back on the score sheet again, which would be good to see. And yeah, as you say, Newcastle, don't know what to expect from them. Pretty poor all season, to be honest, but just about getting the points on the board. But I think it's going to be a comfortable away win, 2-0.
This is the test for Calvert-Lewin now, because he had his run. Now he's not. Yeah. I know it's only one, but now he's not scored in one. He needs to show that he can go a game without a goal and come back to scoring. And that's this is where we're going to find out where Calvert-Lewin is really made of, and if he really has evolved into this top centre forward.
And if Alex Iwobi is on the pitch this week, he needs to be taken off immediately. He was terrible last week.
Well, there's no Richarlison and no Luca Dean, so it's going to be quite difficult. But I think Everton will get it done as well. I think it's going to be close, though, 2-1. Biggest game of the weekend, 4:30 Sunday. Manchester United host Arsenal at Old Trafford. I'm going to say this, and I'm not sure you're going to like it. It's going to be very boring.
Yeah, no, I agree, to be honest. I don't really know what to make of Arsenal at the moment. Our performances haven't been particularly great. I don't like the shape. We don't look great going forward. There's no real invention.
Did you play three at the back against Dundalk? Of all the teams, you could have played no one back there.
Yeah, and I watched the whole first half, and up until the last 5 minutes of it, we were really, really average. So I don't like the shape. It doesn't work. We need a Mesut Ozil in there to do something. I know it's it's becoming really obvious now how much he would have made a difference. But Man United, on the other hand, good result in the week against Leipzig. Very good performance. Nice to see Rashford score a hat-trick.
They did it in Europe last week again against PSG and didn't translate to the game against Chelsea. I mean, I know it's a tough run of fixtures, but is Man United this season just going to be one of those teams that's really good in Europe but not quite as good in the Premier League?
Potentially, yeah, as you say, the league form is really, really poor. I've got a feeling it's going to be a proper stalemate. I think it might be 1-1.
I'm going to go 0-0, same as last weekend against Chelsea. I just think both teams can cancel each other out at the moment. I really do. But at the same time, I don't think either team is that good at the back. But I would have said that in the Chelsea game. That's why I predicted 2-2, but it was boring. I think it's going to be exactly the same, 0-0. 7:15 on Sunday. I'm assuming this is going to be on pay-per-view. I haven't checked, but Tottenham Hotspur, Brighton and Hove Albion. This is a game that Brighton will look at and think, if we perform like we've performed over the last few weeks, there's goals in this. Because Tottenham, whilst they've been much better than I was expecting this season, there's still frailties. We saw it against West Ham. We saw it by not putting Newcastle to bed, and then the fringe players not getting the job done against Antwerp. I do think Tottenham are one of the better teams in the league now, and I am very happy with how the season's going on a whole. Didn't like the loss in the week, of course, but I still, if I was a Brighton fan, I would be slightly confident that there were goals in this for Brighton and that Tottenham are still there to be beaten.
Yeah, agreed. I think the result on Thursday night was a bit of a shocker, to be honest. I know obviously there's a lot of fringe players out, but even making 5 subs and not really having too much of an effect on the game was a bit of a weird one. But as you say, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whatever it's called, it's do struggle to get over the line at the moment. I think a Brighton team who are good on the ball, if they could just take more chances, they'd be a really, really good side at the moment. And I think it's going to be really tight, actually. I'm going for a draw, actually. I don't think we can get it done again.
I think Tottenham will just about get the job done, but it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if Brighton could score 2 or 3 in this, just because of Tottenham don't look that great at the back, but going forward, Tottenham are fantastic, and I think there'll be spaces in this Brighton side that we can exploit. So, it's weird, but I can't see Tottenham scoring less than 3. So I think it's going to be 3-2 to Tottenham. It'll be a great game.
1-0.
Shame if it's on pay-per-view, though. on to Monday's games. Fulham host West Brom at 5:30. Craven Cottage. It's just not a good game of football. I think that both teams have the potential to play some really nice football. I think both teams will probably get relegated. West Brom are doing a little bit better than Fulham, but I actually think Fulham might win this just because it's at Craven Cottage and it's against a team that they will think, right, if we don't win this, we're pretty much us down already.
Agreed. This is already a huge 6-pointer, and I hate that phrase, but it's a 6-pointer. And as you say, at Craven Cottage, I think it just gives the home side an edge. I know West Brom got a decent result against Brighton last week, nicked a point. But I think Fulham have got a little bit too much, and I can see Mitrovic turning up and scoring a couple of goals. 2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go 2-1. I think West Brom might get one. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if West Brom won 3-0. Fulham are so poor at the back. Leeds Leicester to finish the weekend. Monday night, 8 o'clock. Again, lovely game of football. I think it's going to be a fabulous watch at Ellen Road. Leeds got a great win last weekend. Patrick Bamford banging the goals in. I don't know if you heard, he was talking to TalkSport, I think, and he said that it's premature to be talking about him for an England squad. He's not ready. He doesn't deserve it yet. Now, the way he said it didn't strike me as him having a lack of confidence. I was thinking, you know what? This is a very self-assured guy that I think might actually do all right this season because he seems to know his ability. And all he said was, if I'm still doing this at the end of the season, put me in the England squad. But right now, not yet. There's other guys who've been doing it for longer. But normally you'd say, it just means his confidence is low. But he sounded confident doing it. It was just a sort of like, I'll get there, but I'm not there yet.
No, agreed. And as you say, I think everyone had the expectations he wasn't going to score many goals. And he's really shocked a lot of people so far. He fits that system really well. He's keeping their main striker, the big summer signing, out the side. He's doing a really good job at the moment. And to be fair, I really, really like the look of Leeds. I know in the last home game against Wolves, they dominated the ball and didn't quite get the result. That's my biggest concern with them. So I think Vardy on the counter is a massive threat, and that back line is not the greatest. I think it might be a draw. I'm going to go 1-1.
All the praise of Leeds I completely agree with, but I think Leicester will win. I think Leicester look like a tidy side, got a good win in midweek. Vardy's back, which is a big, big plus, especially with Maddison coming back in now as well. 2-1 to Leicester.
Nice. Yeah, 1-1. It's big time.
Anyway, that was Pub Football with Miles and Jimmy. Thank you for watching. Like the page, subscribe to the channel, like us on Instagram at pub_football. We will be back early next week to review these games, but there's only one thing left to say, and that's cheers.
Cheers.